Hey guys, what's going on? It's Steve Greg here with the Authentic Shaolin Kung Fu School. I just want to thank you very much for purchasing the Deadly Art of Survival magazine. And in this video, we're going to be going through Drunken. So just first basics. There's a lot of stuff that's out there on the net. There's a lot of stuff that's out there on social media. Just because you're waddling around and you're holding a flask and you're doing some of this stuff, it does not mean you understand the principles of drunken boxing. Drunken boxing is supposed to be slightly intoxicated, not overly intoxicated to the point where you get the flashy Jackie Chan and everything else that's going on. Drunken boxing is supposed to lure your opponent in to movements because they're assuming that you're either off balance, you're tired, you're weak, you're hurt. These are the techniques. This is what you can use or utilize the drunken boxing in when you're in those scenarios, or trying to pull your opponent into making him think or being overconfident. And that's how we can defeat our opponent. And have my hands out and start fighting in this position, it doesn't make any sense, right? So again, the mimicry style gives us an idea of how we should be moving and how the flow should happen. So from a guard stance position, I can use the rolling the flask and then striking my opponent right from guard stance. And what we're using here, these elbow strikes, are defanging, right? So we're causing pain to our opponent as they're coming in and throwing the techniques. So being relaxed, bursts of energy, like immediate bursts of energy, and then again that offset of balance where we are still balanced on our body, but we're giving the illusion that we are off-centered or we're off balance. And that's what we're gonna be doing. So we're gonna start off with our basic stance. So drunken boxing we could start off drunken boxing traditionally in a cat stance position, and again here, which if you translate it, when we go to guard stance, it's not very different. The guard stance in drunken and the guard stance and traditional drunken and the guard stance in a modern day fighting situation or any kind of fight where the body should be turned sideways, hands should be up, elbows should be tucked in the ribs, right? When we come down to here, it's the same premise. Elbows are protecting the ribs. My body is turned sideways. I'm not here in this position. My body is turned sideways. So I'm already learning and I'm already being able to put form and function behind what we're doing. So we're gonna start off in that drunken mindset, right? Where we're having a traditional stance. We're in cat stance position. This is also a traditional stance where the body is upright and there's a slight concave to the body frame. Okay, but my hips are still underneath me. But in any event, our feet are always on a 45. Our left foot's on the left side of the body and the right foot's on the right side of the body. So it's very, very important to keep and maintain that structure or that frame when we're going through our drunken. So from here, we're gonna understand the rising block. So right from here, it's a rising block and it's what we call offering the wine. Now, if you notice in the form, you do this, okay? And by doing this, you're opening up a strike to your throat. You're opening up your chin. So again, this mimicry style is good when you're performing it because you become part of what you're doing. But the movement of rising block is here, okay? So very easily, the right hand comes into the rising block. So in any style that we're doing, the rising block either comes up through the middle or it just rises straight up or whatever it is. Again, it's that angled block that we have in every single style of martial arts. So again, rising block. So this is a rising block with an offering the wine strike. So with any kind of drunken movement, we try to combine, just like every style, we try to combine one block with a strike of movement. So it's a counterattack type of a style, okay? So again, rising block, we're striking. Now when we come forward, we're gonna disengage anything on this arm, and again, we're gonna come up and we're gonna strike forward. And again, rising block. So rising block. When I come back, I roll the arm underneath. When I come forward, I bring the arm up or out. From this position, I roll the arm underneath to go back to my guard. So anytime that I'm coming forward, right, we want to think of, we can roll coming forward, striking our opponent, and when we come back, we always come back and disengage anything that's in front of that other arm, okay? So rolling forward, strike. If I want to strike again, I can actually come under from my rising block to disengage anything that's on there and strike with my offering the wine with the rising block here, okay? I could also, from this position here, I could step forward again. So as I step forward, I'm gonna rise and I'm gonna strike. So again, we're using the rising block and we're start off with the basic cup technique that everybody utilizes, and a lot of people have a problem understanding the basic fundamentals of this drunken cup, right? So when we're striking with the drunken cup, if my opponent throws, I can use it as a block and a pull. So from here, I can use it in that technique. I can also use it as a roll. So I can use what we call rolling the flask, and then using what we call the fifth knuckle to strike my opponent. So not always striking with this, but now I'm striking with this technique, actually turning the wrist and using this bone to do that damage, right? So we start off in a traditional mindset, and then we're gonna move to a more modern mindset. But the traditional mindset is rolling the flask here and then coming over. And this is my rolling the flask movement and coming over with an elbow strike that most people would never see from this roll. And that elbow strike is a very nasty, vicious movement. I'm trying not to hurt my partner, but that's where that movement comes from. And then we open up and apply the technique here and be able to utilize that lockdown. So again, nice and slow, it's rolling. Elbow, down, flattening my opponent out, and snapping that wrist, elbow. So, a little faster, sorry. A little faster. Traditional movement, he throws, come in, move the leg, pull, and apply the lock. So a lot of the hidden techniques that we're not seeing is from the roll here, we see the elbow. So the elbow strike we have, but we don't see the opening of the fifth knuckle striking the jaw. So from opening up the flask here, I open up to give me that time to hook the leg at the bottom to bring my opponent down. Now from this position, we can take the first, second, and now apply the cup strike right to the chin. And as I strike to the chin, I lift to open up to the throat. Okay, so this is the same technique, except that we roll here, I come into the jaw, and then I strike behind. So without hitting my opponent, he's going to put his chin back after the first strike, because the first strike is supposed to lift, and the second strike is supposed to do damage to the throat. So it goes from here, strike, and then up. And normally, we have our splitting the wood technique. So as the hand is here, we come down here. And we turn and relax the body, and we relax the knuckle, and it becomes dead weight. And that's how we do that damage. Okay? So we'll do that a little quicker. Just gentle, so we don't hurt our opponent here, and we strike right into that position. Okay guys, so I hope this helped. When we're utilizing drunken, remember, slightly off balance. These techniques are vital because it's what lures the opponent in. So now we're gonna do it in modern techniques. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna apply it in a modern day setting. So we're gonna take our traditional, and what I was explaining before about being slightly off balance is the illusion of being slightly off balance. You are not off balance. If I turn my body this way and I strike my opponent on an angle. It looks like my body's off center, but my hips are lined up. Everything is on balance because I've practiced this technique so many times, right? So when we're looking to fight our opponent modernly, we're gonna do a modern fight, so I'm gonna keep my hands closed. I'm not gonna put them here. But the technique that we just used of rolling the flask is called defanging. So I'm gonna use my elbows, right? And in some styles, right, in Wing Chun they utilize this as well as a block, but what we're using is the elbows to defang, and then we're coming in again with my elbow strike, but I'm keeping my hands closed here using that elbow. From here we drop, we do a short strike to the lower part of the leg, and then an elbow strike, or it could be an overhand strike to the jaw. So one more time, nice and slow, is defang, drop here, and then strike with the elbow, or strike with the hand. Now, the techniques that we're utilizing, guys, are meant to decimate our opponent. So I'm trying to do this gently so I don't hurt my uki or my partner, Sifu Lloyd here. So do it nice and slow one more time. So as we're working, we're striking the knuckles or the backs of the hands to do the damage. The elbow comes in and we drop and we switch our legs. Low line kick to the inside of the leg, and then we can come over with the overhand strike or finish up with the elbow. All right, so we'll do this a little faster. So it's just gonna be 1, 2, one more time. 1, 2, 3, we step back here and then elbow strike.
So again, we're taking it to a modern stage. So I don't have to sit here and do this, like in the mimicry style, right? So the mimicry style gives you an idea of how to act and how to be and where the power is going to be drawn from and how to fool your opponent. What we're doing here is we're fighting, and I'm just utilizing rolling the flasks like we did in the other one. Rolling the flasks and applying the elbow. Now I'm dropping, coming inside, taking the leg on the inside and finishing up with an elbow strike. So we're taking it to that modern stage. So we're gonna go a little faster here, and I switch, I come in, and I can either go overhand or go elbow. All right?
All right, go. Strike, pull, and elbow, and bring our opponent down. All right, so I hope that helped. And if you notice, all the stuff I did in Drunken, I'm applying to a modern stage, a modern set.
You guys can see the utilization of the rolling of the flasks from the Drunken style, and how it applies and how it works in a modern day set. So application of any style or any system works great as long as the student or the practitioner is working hard, dissecting the material and experiencing it in a pressure testing environment.
So it can be viable and applicable if you understand the techniques. Thanks again.